To stop my freeloading roommate from using my laundry card, I intentionally left it with a zero balance. The next day, she slammed a receipt onto my desk with total entitlement. "Lydia, why didn't you refill your laundry card? I had to stop my wash mid-cycle because of you. I put $10 on it for you since we're roommates. I won't charge you a convenience fee for the trip to the kiosk. How are you going to pay me back? Venmo or Cash App?" I almost laughed in her face. A single load of laundry cost $5, and she had been leeching off my card for 2 months. She had used it at least 30 times. I hadn't even asked her for the $150 she owed me yet. And here she was hounding me for $10. I looked her in the eye. "I'll give you the $10, but first pay me back the $150 for the loads you've already done." She didn't say a word. Instead, she turned around and went straight to the dean of students. The dean pulled me aside, giving me a long-winded speech about how she was the school's inspirational representative. He told me to just suck it up. He warned me that if this turned into a scandal, it would look bad for the university and could even affect my graduation. My roommate became even more arrogant after that. She started spouting nonsense in the dorm. "Lydia has so much money. Why shouldn't she spend some on me? I grew up in the middle of nowhere, but the school values me. If she's really that upset, let her make a scene. At the end of the day, she's the one who won't graduate, not me." I let out a cold laugh. Did they really think I was too afraid to blow this up? Well, I was going to give them a show they'd never forget. Nan's eyes welled up with tears. She shot a quick glance at our other roommates before lowering her head. Her voice sounded like she was on the verge of a breakdown. "Lydia, it was so windy this afternoon. I ran all the way to the student center with wet hair just to refill your card. If you don't want to be grateful, fine. But how can you be so petty about money?" "Petty? Is that what we're calling it now? Asking for what's rightfully mine." The other girls in the room turned their chairs around to watch the drama unfold. One asked, "What's going on?" "It's nothing. I just put $10 on Lydia's laundry card, and now she refuses to pay me back." Nan sniffled, pausing for effect. "I'm not even saying she has to pay. It's just that $10 is what I spend on food for a whole day." Sloane nodded and looked at me. "Was your card really empty?" I leaned back in my chair. My voice was flat. "Because Nan used it all." Nan pouted as if she were the victim. "What do you mean I used it? Don't you use it, too? Besides, I've used it so many times before and you never said anything." I stared her down. "That's because every single time you said I'll pay you back next time, but you never did." The first time Nan leeched off me was during the second week of the semester. I had just finished my laundry when she happened to walk in. "Lydia, my card is empty. Can I borrow yours? I'll refill mine tomorrow and Venmo you." I said sure and handed it over the next day. She didn't mention it. I didn't bring it up either. Then came the third time, the fourth, fifth. Her, "Can I borrow it?" turned into, "Just let me scan yours. I'll get you later," but later never came. One time I came back from class and she just held her hand out while sitting on her bed. "Give me the card. I need to do laundry." I asked if she had sent me the money yet. She froze for a second then laughed. "Don't you still have plenty of credits on there? It's not like it's hard cash. Why are you being so calculated?" It wasn't just a laundry card either. Nan would always ask me to grab her something whenever I was printing files or ordering Starbucks. Each time it was only $2 or $3 or maybe 10, and every single time it was, "I'll pay you back later," again. She never did. I knew she came from a poor rural background and had 3 younger siblings to help support. She was on a tight budget, so I hadn't made a big deal out of it. But now she was calling me petty. Since that conversation, I had stopped refilling the card. I figured she would realize what was happening once she saw the zero balance. Who knew she would refill it herself and then come to me for a reimbursement? Seeing my silence, Nan's victim act started to crumble. "Lydia, I only used your card a few times. Don't you think you're being a bit much? You think this is a bit much?" I picked up my phone, turned the screen toward her, and started scrolling. "I've used my card 32 times in the last 2 months at $5 a load. That's $160. I've bought you lunch 12 times. I've paid for your printing 7 times. I've bought you 9 lattes. All those little things add up to $300. I locked my phone and looked her straight in the eye. "That's $460 total. Subtract the $10 you just spent and you owe me $450. Venmo or Cash App?" The dorm went silent for 2 seconds. Tears started pooling in Nan's eyes again. "Lydia, you know my family is struggling, yet you're being so aggressive. I get it. You just think I'm poor. You look down on me." Since she had escalated it to a class issue, Sloane immediately tried to play peacemaker. "Come on, Lydia. We're all roommates. Let's just let the money go." I looked at her. "Let it go? If you think it's so little, why don't you pay me back for her?" Sloane blinked, then rolled her eyes and turned back to her desk. Why would I pay for her? I'm not her mother, she said with red eyes. Nan crumpled the receipt into a ball and threw it into the trash. Enough, Lydia. I actually thought you were a good person. Turns out you're just like every other shallow rich girl. Fine, keep your $10. I don't even want it. She stormed out, slamming the door. However, after my gym class the next day, I got a text from the dean of students. He wanted to see me in his office. When I walked in, Dean Miller was there. He was leaning back in his chair, looking at me with a strange expression. Did you have a conflict with Nan in the dorms? Before I could even respond, he kept talking. Lydia, you're the class president. You need to lead by example. Support your classmates. Foster unity. I shouldn't have to teach you this. I stood there knowing exactly what had happened. Nan had filed a complaint. I played dumb. Sir, I'm not sure what you mean. Are you referring to the fact that I asked Nan to pay back the money she borrowed? The dean took a sip of water. Nan is a scholarship student. She is our school's inspirational representative. Your family is well off. You don't need this money. You should be helping her. Don't be so petty about the small stuff. There was that word again, petty. I took a deep breath. Sir, my family has money because my parents worked hard for it. Why am I obligated to give it to her? She used up the balance on my card without asking. Then she refilled it and demanded I pay her back for it. Don't you think that's ridiculous? The dean's face darkened. Lydia, I thought you were a sensible girl. Next Monday, city officials are visiting the campus. Nan has been chosen to welcome them. If her mental state is affected by this, and it ruins the school's reputation, well, your graduation could become a very difficult process. I froze. Graduation. He was using my future to threaten me. The dean saw my silence and likely thought he had intimidated me. His tone softened and he patted my shoulder. Lydia, you know I've always valued you. I've scheduled you to host the welcoming ceremony. Write a good script. You and Nan will be the pride of this university together. Pride. If this university was this blind and unjust, it only made me sick. I walked back to the dorm and pushed the door open. Nan was just coming out of the bathroom. Her hair was wet and in her hand was my laundry card. She didn't look even remotely guilty about being caught. She tossed the card onto my desk with a shrug. It's out of money again. Remember to refill it. I stared at her for 1 second, then 2 seconds. Then I smiled. Nan frowned. What are you smiling at? She paused as if it just clicked. Oh, I get it. The dean talked to you, didn't he? Fine. You don't even have to apologize. I forgive you for yesterday. I leaned against my desk watching her. You forgive me? Yeah, she said with total confidence. We're roommates after all. I'm not small-minded like you. With that, she reached out to grab my hairdryer from the top of my locker. I moved faster and grabbed it first. Lydia, what are you doing? I ignored her. I pulled out my key and locked both the laundry card and the hairdryer inside my cabinet. Nan, I'm fresh out of charity. If you touch my stuff without permission again, I'm calling the police. I am reporting you for theft. Nan's face stiffened. She clearly hadn't expected me to fight back after the dean's warning. I put on my noise-canceling headphones and blocked them out. I didn't have classes that afternoon, so I napped until 3 o'clock. When I woke up and checked my phone, a notification popped up. My membership card at the nail salon had been used for a $360 charge at 2:51 p.m. I stared at the message for 3 seconds while my brain processed it. I don't have many hobbies. I love getting my nails done. There's a great salon near the south gate of campus. I had preloaded $3,000 onto a VIP card there, but I hadn't gone today. So, who did? I called the salon immediately. The clerk stuttered for a while before admitting someone had used my VIP card. They apologized for the error. They offered me a discount on my next visit. I hung up, already guessing who it was. Nan walked into the dorm with 2 of her friends, laughing loudly. She probably thought I wasn't there. She stood in the middle of the room, holding out her hands to show off a fresh, sparkling set of ombre nails. What do you think of this gradient? I picked this color specifically. It's going to look so elegant. It will be perfect when I meet the mayor on Monday. One of her friends leaned in, her voice dripping with flattery. Wow, Nan, these are stunning. They must have cost a fortune. Nan admired her hands, her lips curling into a smug grin. $360. Not too bad. The other friend lowered her voice. Nan, what if Lydia finds out you used her card for this? Won't she be pissed? Nan let out an arrogant laugh. Her family is loaded. What's a few $100 to her? Besides, she doesn't dare get mad. The school loves me. If she tries to cross me, she's the one who will be punished. Is that so? My voice cut through the air and the 3 of them froze. I pulled back my bed curtains and showed them my phone screen. I was already hovering over the call button for 911. Nadine, I warned you. If you touch my things without permission again, I would call the police. Nan's two friends panicked, shoving each other as they scrambled out of the room. Nan, however, kept her cool. She gave me a dismissive smirk. Lydia, it's just $300. Is it really that serious? I opened my Venmo QR code and shoved the phone in her face. If it's not a big deal, then pay me back right now. Nan ignored the phone. She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear and puffed out her chest. Lydia, get this through your head. I got these nails to represent the school in front of the city officials. I did it for the university's image. You're rich anyway. Consider it your contribution to the school. If you behave, maybe I'll say something nice about you to the dean. She kept throwing my wealth in my face like it was a crime. And she pointedly mentioned the dean to scare me. She thought I was afraid. She thought I would fold. I moved the phone even closer. Pay me $360. Nan's smile finally cracked. Her voice went up an octave. Lydia, did you forget your meeting with the dean? I am a scholarship student. I didn't waste another breath. I tapped the call button. Nan's eyes widened in horror. She lunged at me, snatched my phone, and hung up the call. Lydia, are you insane? Her voice was high and screeching. Then the waterworks started again. She sobbed while dialing the dean's number. Sir, please come quickly. Lydia is trying to have me arrested. I couldn't hear the dean's response. Nan held the phone away from her ear and turned on the speaker. The dean's voice came through sharp and furious. Lydia, can you stop causing me trouble for 1 second? I told you not to mess with Nan. If this happens again, forget about being class president. Forget about graduating. He hung up. Nan wiped her tears and looked at me, a slow smirk spreading across her face. See, the school values me. If you want that degree, you better start being helpful. She turned to the mirror, fixed her hair, and started walking out. Oh, and refill that laundry card soon. I don't want to have to keep reminding you. The door shut. I stood there slowly, tightening my grip on the digital voice recorder I had hidden under my pillow. It had been recording the whole time. They thought I wouldn't make a scene. Fine, I'll give them a scene so big the whole city will see it. Monday morning arrived. It was the day of the city officials' visit. The university had gone all out. Red carpets, balloons, and a live stream for the local news. The dean followed Nan around like a shadow, ready to tell the officials all about her. He wanted everyone to know how the school supported this inspirational representative, how hardworking and diligent she was. In the crowd, everyone was wearing a fake practice smile. We reached the grand hall and the officials took their seats. The cameras for the live stream were all rolling. I clutched my recorder and walked onto the stage. I saw Nan's smug look and the dean's expression from the front row. Everyone's eyes were on me. I looked up, held up the recorder, and smiled. The microphone picked up the quiet click of the play button. I brought the small black device directly to the mic. For a split second, the auditorium was dead silent. Save for the hum of the air conditioning. Then, Nan's screeching voice echoed through the state-of-the-art surround sound system of the grand hall. Lydia, are you insane? The sound of fake dramatic sobbing filled the room, followed by the dialing of a phone. Sir, please come quickly. Lydia is trying to have me arrested. In the front row, Dean Miller's face went entirely slack. The color drained from his cheeks so fast he looked like a corpse. He half stood from his velvet-lined chair, his mouth opening and closing like a suffocating fish. Next to him, the mayor and the visiting city council members frowned, exchanging confused glances. But the tape kept playing and it was loud. Lydia, can you stop causing me trouble for 1 second? Dean Miller's recorded voice boomed. It was unmistakably him. Sharp, furious, and dripping with bureaucratic disdain. I told you not to mess with Nan. If this happens again, forget about being class president. Forget about graduating. A collective gasp swept through the hundreds of students seated behind the VIP section. Phones were already out. The red light of the local news cameras stationed at the back remained steady. They were live. Then came Nan's voice, devoid of her usual tears, replaced by a sneering, arrogant drawl. See, the school values me. If you want that degree, you better start being helpful. Oh, and refill that laundry card soon. I don't want to have to keep reminding you. I clicked the recorder off. The silence that followed was heavy, suffocating, and absolute. I leaned into the podium microphone. My voice was completely steady. Good morning, Mayor Jenkins, distinguished city officials, faculty, and students, I said, looking directly into the camera at the back of the room. My name is Lydia Vance. I am the class president of this university. I was scheduled to give a speech today about unity, integrity, and the inspirational support system this school provides to its students. I paused. Let that land. Instead, I'd like to talk about what that support system actually looks like. From the inside. The auditorium was so quiet I could hear the air conditioning. I raised the recorder back to the microphone and pressed play. Nan's voice filled the hall again, not the soft, tearful version she performed for authority figures, but the one from the dorm room. Flat. Contemptuous. See, the school values me. If you want that degree, you better start being helpful. Oh, and refill that laundry card soon. I don't want to have to keep reminding you. I let it run for another 10 seconds. Then I clicked it off. In the front row, Dean Miller had gone the color of old chalk. He was gripping the armrests of his velvet chair so hard his knuckles had disappeared. The mayor sat 2 seats to his left, and the expression on Mayor Jenkins' face had moved cleanly through confusion, recognition, and had arrived somewhere cold and official. I looked directly into the news camera at the back of the room. Over the past 2 months, my roommate used my laundry card 32 times without reimbursement. She used my nail salon VIP card for a $360 charge while I was asleep. She stole printing credits, coffee, lunches. The total is $450, documented, receipted, and logged. I kept my voice level. When I asked for it back, she went to Dean Miller. He called me into his office and told me the truth. He told me that if this became a scandal, my graduation could become a very difficult process. I reached into my folder and held up the written notes I'd made immediately after that meeting, dated and timestamped. I wrote that down the same day. I set the paper on the podium. This is the support system this school provides. Documented theft. Administrative threats. And a dean who chose. He chose to protect a PR asset over a student he was supposed to serve. The silence broke. Not with noise exactly, more like a collective exhale, the sound of 400 people all processing the same information at the same moment. Phones were already up. The news cameras hadn't moved. Mayor Jenkins stood. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. Dean Miller, he said firmly. You are suspended effective immediately, pending a full investigation by the University Oversight Committee. I will be personally requesting a copy of that recording and all relevant documentation. He turned slightly. Miss Nan will report to the disciplinary committee tomorrow at 9 a.m. Nan had been sitting in the third row in her presentation outfit, hands folded, waiting. She wasn't waiting anymore. She was on her feet, and the tears that came now were a different kind, fast, uncontrolled, not performed for anyone. Lydia, please. She pushed past the people beside her, moving toward the stage. I'll pay you back. I'll pay everything back right now, just tell them it was a misunderstanding. 2 security staff stepped into the aisle before she reached the steps. I looked at her from the podium. Not with anger. I'd burned through the anger weeks ago, somewhere between the nail salon notification and the moment I'd hidden the recorder under my pillow. A misunderstanding, I said. 32 laundry loads is a misunderstanding. Charging $360 to my account while I was sleeping is a misunderstanding. Threatening my graduation is a misunderstanding. I shook my head. You're not funny, Nan. You're a thief. And you got caught on tape. She was still crying when security guided her toward the side exit. Her friends in the audience had discovered somewhere else to look. The disciplinary committee met the next morning. I brought the recorder, the Venmo history showing 0 repayments, the nail salon receipt with the timestamp, and the records. I brought the phone records of Dean Miller's call, and my written notes from every conversation I'd documented over 2 months. Sloan, our other roommate, submitted a written statement. She noted that Nan had referenced the dean's protection more than once when discussing Lydia, and had described the laundry card situation as a non-issue because the school needed her more than Lydia. The committee deliberated for 4 hours. Nan's scholarship was revoked. She was expelled. She was given 2 weeks to clear her belongings from the dorm. Her inspirational representative designation was removed from all university materials retroactively, which I imagined required someone to do a very thorough job on the website. She tried to appeal, but it was useless for her now. The local news ran the segment the following Thursday. Her name was in the headline. No one from the university commented in her defense. I heard, later, that she'd moved to another city. I didn't look into it further. That chapter was closed and I had no interest in reading it again. The university board convened an emergency session for Dean Miller. The recording was played in its entirety. He sat at the long table and explained, in the practiced tone of someone who had spent 30 years never being held accountable, that he had been protecting the institution's image. The board chair let him finish. Then she said, "You threatened a student's academic future to protect a thief. That is not protecting the institution. That is the institution failing." She set her pen down. "Your employment is terminated effective today. You will not receive severance. You are banned from working in any administrative capacity at any institution in this state." Miller's only public comment was a brief written statement claiming the situation had been mischaracterized. Nobody ran it. When a reporter asked me for my reaction, I thought for a moment before I answered them. He chose the wrong student to threaten, I said. And that was all. The interim dean, Dr. Reyes, met with me the following week. She had the kind of direct, unhurried manner that suggested she had spent her career watching institutions make avoidable mistakes and had developed opinions about it. She apologized formally, in writing and in person. She outlined the university's plan. She outlined the plan to reimburse the documented stolen amount in full, plus a compensatory sum for the documented distress caused by administrative misconduct. $810 arrived in my account 3 days later. She also asked if I would consider giving the commencement address. I said yes. 6 months passed. Semester end, winter break, the long final stretch of senior year. I studied. I finished my thesis. I ate at the campus dining hall without anyone demanding I cover their meal. I did my own laundry on my own card with a zero balance nobody could drain. On graduation day, I stood at the podium in the same hall. Different flags. Same cameras. Fuller crowd. I looked out at 400 faces in caps and gowns and thought about the version of myself who had stood here 6 months ago with a recorder and 2 months of documentation and a very specific kind of cold clarity. A year ago, I said, I was told that if I caused trouble, I wouldn't graduate. I paused. So I stopped causing trouble. I started documenting. I wrote down dates, amounts, conversations. I kept receipts. I waited. And when the moment came, I didn't cause trouble. I looked at the camera. I caused consequences. That's different. Trouble is noise. Consequences are just evidence, arriving on schedule. The applause started before I'd finished the sentence. I walked out through the main campus gates that afternoon with my diploma in one hand. In the other hand was my phone. The same gates I'd walked through on my first day, dragging a suitcase and fully expecting my biggest problem to be adjusting to dining hall coffee. I thought about Nan's confident smirk when she told me the school valued her. About Miller's measured tone when he'd explained that my graduation could become difficult. About how certain they both were of my silence. They weren't entirely wrong about who I had been. They were just wrong about who I was going to stay. My parents built what we have from nothing, decision by careful decision. I grew up watching them protect what they'd earned, not with aggression, but with documentation, clarity, and the willingness to let the truth speak at full volume when the moment was right. Nan wanted my money. She got an expulsion. She got an expulsion and a headline. Miller wanted my obedience. He got a termination and no severance. I wanted my dignity and my degree. I walked out with both. That's not revenge. That's just consequences, arriving on schedule.